So the same thing always happens when a new device launches. The media gets review units ahead of the official launch, and we get to use them while we write our review. Then the press embargo lifts, every outlet posts their reviews and videos at the same time, writers and commenters go back and forth, and it's a huge frenzy of opinion and buzz for about a day, and then it all goes away. Sure, there's some follow-up coverage, but after that initial blast, almost no one revisits the device to see how well it's aged, because we're all on to the next big thing already.
So let's do something about it. Let's have a look at a device after a couple of weeks after release and when it's not shiny and new anymore. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow. This is the HTC One M8, and this is episode 36 of After the Buzz. It's been 3 months since HTC launched its HTC One M8 to the market, and after our extensive coverage of one of the most beautifully designed phones of the year, it's time to take a second look. At times when Samsung is making headlines with its Galaxy S5 and LG with its G3, and all the rumors of the iPhone 6, will we still recommend that you buy the HTC One M8 after the buzz? In a quick answer, yes, and let's go through the reasons why. Surely HTC devices aren't as popular as iPhones or Galaxy phones today, but trust me, that has nothing to do with the quality of its products. I've been using the HTC One M8 for a month now, and in all honesty, this is finally the Android phone that made me forget the iPhone. It's not just the fact that it's beautifully crafted, nor the fact that it's got the year's hottest specifications. It's really the fact that this phone does everything well, or probably better than most of the phones that I've used. For example, hardware. This brushed aluminum doesn't only look great, but it feels great. There's this coefficient of friction in the metal and the display that I really can't explain, but when you hold the phone, it really feels great, and that matters to me. Even more important is the fact that I've dropped this phone twice already, and it even seems to hide dings on the corners quite better than almost every plastic and aluminum phone that I've used. I haven't babied this phone at all, and really, it looks like new. I'm not a fan of cases, but this dot view case is actually the first one that I actually enjoy using. It doesn't make the phone look any thicker, and surely I wish that the hinge was not as stiff as it is, but you know, the fact that I'm actually able to interact with the phone and the fact that it makes it look like something out of a science fiction movie just makes this case relevant for me. I don't know for you. Aside from that, it's the display that's gorgeous, and the color accuracy being one of my favorite features, though yes, I would have preferred a phone with less bezels. Even more important, the quality of its speakers and the fact that they're front-firing is just making me ask myself why other OEMs don't take your experience consuming multimedia content with the speakers more seriously. Honestly, this should set the bar for where speakers are placed in smartphones going forward, no excuses. Whether it's the specifications or the features, my overall hardware impression of this phone is that I'm actually getting more for my money, and that's really something that I do care about. Then if we go to software, the story gets even better. I'll admit that I hate every single Android skin that I've used except for this one. HTC Sense 6 gives Android an added level of elegance and functionality that I haven't found anywhere else. I love how you can slide from left to right in different filters for your contacts or calendar, and I simply love the fact that this whole skin doesn't bog the phone down at all. Now, my favorite feature is the way you can activate the phone through gestures. Having the power button at the top is extremely annoying, but the fact that these gestures make you be able to activate blink feed or activate the phone or go directly somewhere just makes this phone actually really cool to use. And yeah, speaking of blink feed, even though it's not one of my favorite features, it's there, it's an added value. It looks quite cool, and it's even aged better than most other software options because honestly now you can do more with it, specifically with social media, which is really something that you care about, and that's really what I like about it, even though I'll admit I rarely use it. All this paired with HTC's excellent track record when it comes to software updates in the past 2 years, and the fact that it's already committed to Android L, and even more important, I don't know if you've noticed this, but Sense 6 actually looks like Android L in a way. It's all code for an excellent experience the more this phone ages down the road. Now, probably my biggest reason to keep this phone over every other phone that I've tested is honestly my user experience. To give you an example, I was reluctant to get the HTC One last year, mainly because of the 4-megapixel camera, but I'll admit that I'm not disappointed in using this camera. First of all, it's a different sensor, and yes, I do admit that I miss being able to zoom into photos that I've already taken to get rid of some areas that I don't want, but you know, for everything else, this camera actually takes some really nice photos. Both in daylight and in night, they are good, and you know, this phone takes photos faster than any other camera that I've used, and that's actually very important. Now, when you couple that with the software experience, the bokeh effects that you're able to create with the dual camera, and its unique gallery application just makes a difference. Once you couple that with HTC Zoe, the video quality of the camera, and again, the fact that you can actually enhance the photos a lot after you take them, and it's actually a good reason to use this phone, especially again, if you only use this camera for social media. Performance has also been good. I've never seen this phone stutter on graphic-intensive games nor on the basics, and the fact that you have expandable storage makes the experience a lot better, though I will admit when it comes to games in particular that this phone does heat up a bit. And if you're not into games, battery life will get you through more than a day. Probably one of the best experiences in battery life that I've had so far, even though, yes, this is no Galaxy Note 3. But, you know, even cooler, I don't know why, but this phone charges faster than every other phone that I've used, and that even includes the iPhone 5S, which was the best in my list. Using this phone for phone calls is also a pleasure. And whether it's up to your ear or using the boom sound speakers for phone calls, honestly, there is just no way to go wrong with these speakers. They sound better than anything in the market, and yes, this should set the bar for everybody else. It's really hard to stop using this phone for something as simple as the speakers and the call quality. And with that final phrase, it's time to answer the basic question that everybody's here for. Will we still recommend that you buy the HTC One M8 after the buzz? Well, if you want the best smartphone experience that most of us have had, the HTC One M8 is right for you. I would have personally liked this phone if it would have had the same display on a shorter chassis, and because of my personal fitness needs, I would have loved this phone if it were waterproof, but that aside, when it comes to your experience, honestly, I've been using the iPhone 5S, I have the Galaxy S5 available to me, and I honestly will not let the HTC One M8 go. I want to keep this phone. I've enjoyed it a lot, I don't want to stop using it, and I really have to praise HTC for that particularly. They have a well thought out phone here, and honestly, this HTC One M8 is superior. It is just superior than every other phone that I've used, and I want to keep using it. That's it for episode 36 of After the Buzz. Thank you very much for watching. Do you own an HTC One M8? Are you considering one, or have you considered another phone? Leave us a comment down below, tell us your experience, and also follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you on the next video.